It is July 17th, 2024, Wednesday, about 10:30 a.m. I actually was thinking to start the video about an hour ago, but then something kept coming up, and then eventually getting to it, and I wanted to continue with the habit of making these videos. Since I don't have a job yet or anything, I thought it is still doable. I think eventually, even when I get a job, I would try to make sure that I do it even for a minute, because that's the intention setting, the habit that would help for me to live more mindfully, because this mindfulness journey that I started when I started in last December 2023, I didn't necessarily call it mindfulness. It was more of like deep spirituality. Eventually, when I got into the Thich Nhat Hanh books, which was probably sometime in March-ish, it started from two little books from library. One is called How to Relax, another was How to Smile. We three of us, my husband, me, and Alice, we went to the library, the close by library, and randomly my husband actually found this books on the self-help section area, I think section area, both are the same word, on the library shelf, and that's where I kind of started with the Thich Nhat Hanh books and the journey. I paused because I kind of was thinking the time. Yeah, sometime when you look back at the journey, it kind of makes you think of it. So far, I have listened to a few books of Thich Nhat Hanh, and also read maybe altogether 10-15 of them. Some I haven't finished, which I'll finish in time. And in between, I started reading other books too, other related books. But I do live more mindfully now. I set the intentions for the day, sometime the night before, sometime in the morning. And this morning I remember that when I went to the bathroom, after that, when I was washing my hand, then I could smell the hand soap. And I was thinking to myself that, oh, I'm able to smell the hand soap because I am living in the moment. Because mindfulness is about knowing, the awareness of what you are doing. And I felt grateful for that. I felt grateful that I was able to smell the dishwasher, the hand soap, and I was aware of that. And then a little later, Alice did not want to go to her summer school today, and she was acting up a little bit. And then I was able to stay calm, and I was trying to understand her perspective, why she didn't want to go to school, because some days she's excited to go and some days she doesn't. And then I asked her, she wouldn't say anything, and then I said, is it because Lexi's not coming today? Her best friend Lexi, she has, yesterday Alice said that Lexi has ear infection, so she might not be coming today. So I figured, last night she was talking about that, so I figured that's why probably Alice is a little sad that she won't be able to see Lexi at school, so maybe that's why she was not too excited. And then I got this card, they're called lunch cards at Amazon for her a couple days ago. Randomly, the thought came to my mind that it'll make Alice happy, because I know that she has been a little sad about with all the health challenges going on for months now. constant doctor's appointment every week, sometimes multiple. Um, and then our summer trip was supposed to be last Saturday and coming back today. That did not happen because it was supposed to be at Ocean City Beach, and with her cast in her arm, we can't go, so we canceled it. So, and today is a swimming day at school where they will take them to a swimming place, and then I think wall climbing or something, but she can't go. She is staying at the younger kids' room. So I think all of that had something to do with it, why she didn't want to go. So last night I gave her those cards, two cards, and then she also gave me two cards, really, really nice cards, where it says she loves me, and the cards have some pictures. Show some of the cards here. I think this is amazing. Whoever came up with this idea is really, really amazing. So these are some example cards. It says, have a cool day. And on the back, it has some writing space. So I say, I love you. I wish your day goes very good, and things like that. And there is one that says, we're big into unicorns. I know Alice would love this. Good things are coming. The unicorn, and then there's all the cards have a thing on the back side. Says always do your best and help others, and same thing on the back, there's a writing space. So I gave her another card this morning that made her feel very good. It says always remember to smile, something like that. And then as soon as she saw that, she was like, oh, yesterday I was thinking to pick that card for you, for me. She meant she and I, a lot of time we think similarly, so I was not surprised that she wanted to pick that card for me. So yeah, eventually she went. So I was glad that I was mindful there, and I was not losing my cool when she was trying to act out a little bit. And we as parents, that's the best we can do. We try to be kind. We try to understand why they might be doing certain things at certain time, because there is underlying reason. And sometimes they would share the reason, and sometimes they won't. But for us, it's important to be kind. We won't always be successful, and that's a parent thing, right? If you're in this midlife, your kids might be, Alice is 8, your kids might be 8, your kids might be in teens. There are a lot of challenges that comes with, and we think that we know how to be parent, how to do parenting well, and also sometimes people would give us advice, and none of us, we know everything, because when we grew up, we cannot compare our parenting with this current parenting, because there was no social media. Things were totally different when we were kids. So if we try to use the same parenting technique, it won't work. So we need to learn new ways that are positive, and we're still able to guide the kids in a way that they have less suffering. I wanted to say they are more happy. Of course, you can try to get them to be happy, help them to learn how to live a happier life, how to be more grateful and all that things, but they say there is always some suffering for kids, for older people, and then we learn the coping strategy, because life is suffering. So it's a saying in Buddhism. At the same time, it doesn't mean that all there is suffering. There is also happiness, and also like the 3 things they say in Buddhism, unpleasant, neutral, and pleasant feeling. And the big concept of mindfulness is the changing the neutral feeling to the pleasant feeling, because that's when happiness happens, because joy is what we get something big when it happens. You're getting a promotion, you're getting a car or a new house. Those are joy, and those are not long lasting, because after some time that excitement goes down. So in some way, the way I think of it is, okay, actually, and that's the kind of the revelation it happens to me when I start talking about in these videos, the longer videos, especially in the mornings, is that I think there's three things. The normal way to think about I don't know, for me at least, I think it's that unpleasant feeling is the underneath. There will always be some unpleasant feeling. And actually the basement, oh yeah, it's in this book, The How to Fight, where it's actually how to not fight. That's what it talks about, like how to be more compassionate and kind when we're communicating with others. So it talks about the anger stays in the basement, and if we feed it more, then it comes to the living room. Anyway, maybe that's what the concept made me think of it differently. So anyway, so what I'm thinking is, okay, the unpleasant feelings, either if it's anger, worry, sadness, will always be in the basement, and let it be in the basement. And the neutral feeling zone could be in the middle, where in the living room. And if you have a 2-story house, the second floor is the pleasant feeling. So the pleasant feeling would happen with the promotion, the new job, the new car, new house, all of those type of thing. Or even sometimes the bucket filling thing is your second floor. But the first floor, what's in first floor is the neutral feeling zone. All this neutral feeling zone is not bad. We just have to realize that they are neutral. They are not the feeling that are in the basement. So once we realize that, where Thich Nhat Hanh talked about having the toothache versus not having the toothache. So when we don't have a toothache, which is like 99% of the time, we don't think about it. But if we think about it, that neutral feeling can become a pleasant feeling, and that is the happiness that is long lasting. So that's what I'm trying to train my brain with a lot. So this morning I was doing the dishes, so I loaded up the dishwasher. It's almost full, and then after my coffee, and then I'll put the coffee cup and then maybe a couple more things and get it started. But I was hand washing a few big things, and then while I was hand washing, I was really trying to feel the scrubber, the utensil that I was touching. And Thich Nhat Hanh would talk about just be there when you're washing the dishes, just be there, don't think about anything else. And until today, I was thinking washing dishes, well, I didn't think exactly like that washing dishes means only washing dishes, but I think it got more clear to me that when we are washing dishes and when we are there with it, and we are washing our hands with hand soap and we are smelling the soap, it's not necessarily that. The point is that we are training our mind, and I think that's the front part, the prefrontal cortex, I think they talk about. Anyway, we're training our mind to be there at that moment. So then what happens is the point is not about being there when you are washing the dishes, being there when you're washing the hands. The point is to train your mind to being there where you are. And I thought that was amazing. That was amazing because when we have neutral feeling in the living room, if I use that concept of basement, living room, and the first floor and the second floor, majority of our time we are in the living room. I mean, not physically, but emotionally. And And though that is not bad, and remembering that that is better than being in the basement, being in that unpleasant situation, is better, because our mind, 40% of the time our mind wanders, they say, and that's based on some Harvard study. And whenever our mind wanders, it wanders in the negative zone, meaning thinking about some past hurt, some sadness from the past, and our worries about the future. So if we train our mind not to go to the past, not to go to the future, rather stay present in the present moment, because present moment is the only moment that ever existed, that's what they say. So then our life can be more peaceful, because conflict is inevitable. Conflict will happen sometime, at work, at home, anywhere, because two people never would think exactly the same about everything, right? So conflict will happen, but the important part is to talk calmly about those conflicts and coming to a compromising situation, or coming to some solution that both people have a win-win situation. And sometimes it won't be win-win. Maybe one person may feel they won, another person may feel that they lost that specific discussion. But it's more about, if we lose, not continue with that emotion, just let it go. And because that becomes past, anything from yesterday, anything from an hour before, even a minute before, is past. And that's the part we forget. We carry with that emotion with us, and those are the baggages, those invisible baggages that we carry, not from yesterday, not from month before, from our childhood. So it's important to let those go. It's important to release those baggages from the past. And also, so if I were to imagine, so let's say a lot of time when I get worried, I feel it in the shoulder. And if anybody is watching this video, think of where you feel it in your body, because they say it's important to feel it in the body, because when you know that, then you can release it better, not only in your mind, because those emotions attach with our body too. So I feel it a lot of time in my shoulder. I don't necessarily have a pain or anything, but I feel the tension in my shoulder, and I tense up like this. And then when I do breathing or something, I remember that, and I relax my shoulder, and that itself helps. Just little thing helps. So anyway, so the baggage is from the past. If I put it here, and the baggage is from the future, those invisible baggage that we are ready to carry, meaning we are worrying about something. And they say, I think there's a percentage, I can't remember, 80% or 90% of our worries from the future never happens, but we are carrying this invisible burden on our shoulder. And there's also a revelation I just actually had when I was just talking about it. So yeah, take those baggages and put it down, all the way down to the floor. Give it to Mother Earth. Mother Earth will understand. And then you feel free. All your shoulders are fully free. And walk the present moment, right? It is so important. So I have been doing this intention setting for the last few days. If anybody's hearing to my random talks, my morning mindfulness journal, I was just thinking last few days as I was talking about it, the intention setting is helping. It's keeping me in the positive zone a little more than I would normally I could be. So it's helping. And responding rather than reacting more. And yesterday, and this is an important thing they say, if you think about some stressor that this could be stressful, and sometimes thinking about future is not bad. If you think about a situation or something that be stressful in the future, maybe in the evening, maybe next day, maybe a week prior, figure out a time to have that conversation with the person in advance, in a time that is suitable for both, because then getting into an agreement or some sort of compromising situation or solution before could reduce a big blowout, which is important, because when a big stressor happens, then nobody is in a situation where anybody can listen to, because it's not that we want to, our mind, our brain goes in the survival mode in those situations. And when we are in flight or fight situation, we are not listening, not even a word what the other person says. We are just trying to survive. And it may not be a survival situation, but that's what unfortunately our brain thinks. And it's crazy to think that all of these machines, the iPhone or the tablet and self-driving car, all of these things are getting updated, but unfortunately we are working with the brain, the human brain, that is millions of years old. And ideally speaking, this should not be happening, where our mind still tries to simulate the little things with as if a tiger is chasing us. Like, why does it have to be this way, right? Our brain should get some sort of upgrade too, but it is what it is. Maybe someday somebody will come up with something where it can attach it to your brain without causing some other side effect, where our brain would recognize something that is not a real threat, because that's where the challenge is. The whole self-help industry talks about to train your mind, train your brain, which is great, but why do we have to train our brain where all these machines are getting upgraded? Why can't we have some shortcuts to it? Now, is it a bad thing to expect a shortcut? Probably not, because there is enough people who are suffering, not knowing what is real threat versus what we are imagining. Some of that is the mental health, where when it goes kind of out of control, when people are very anxious or very depressed, then they have meds, but there should be easier solution to that, maybe someday. Anyway, so yeah, I talk about progress. I'm glad that I'm making some progress. And another interesting thing, a couple of days ago, I had this thing. So this workbook I was working on, it talked about, it was a question, what would I tell to my younger self? And my answer to that was to be more grateful for the things that I had. Now, for some, it may seem like I grew up in India, and depending on how you look at it, to some, from American standard, it'll be like I grew up poor. From Indian standard, they'd say middle class. In general, right, English? In general, though, in today's thought process, if I were to think, I would say that I'm grateful that I did not have to live a life where I didn't know if I will have enough food to eat or not in the next meal. we never had to think about that. We always had food, and I could go to school, have good study, and clothes, clean water, air that we breathe in. All of that were there. We were not rich, that's okay, but there were happiness. And I remember I might have been in 6th grade or 7th grade, and I remember telling my mom, of course being so naive, and my thought process being so naive. So we're from a big family, 3 brothers, and including myself, 3 sisters, so we were like 6 of us. And I remember saying, because it was so odd, and maybe that's why I still remember, I was like saying to my mom that I wish we always stay like that, 3 brothers, 3 sisters, meaning not getting married, because then there'll be other people in the family, and then we were so happy ourselves that we continue that way. It's a very naive thinking now if I think about it, but anyway, but that tells me that that at that moment, and there are other times where I gotta be really happy and had that contentment even at that age that I said that. And now if I look back, and I'm glad that I made a statement, something like that made an impact. So anyway, so it was a 1 question thing, and it said what I want to tell my younger self. And I said that because I don't think growing up I knew what gratitude, I didn't even know what gratitude was, and I wasn't grateful for that. Maybe a lot of survival skills I learned based on the situation where when my dad died in a stroke when I was 6, and that left a mark in me, because there were times I was loved by my family, by everybody, because I was the youngest out of all the siblings, and my mom loves me unconditionally. But there were times I felt when my friends, they had a dad and I didn't, and I didn't realize the impact until the last few years, the deep impact that I had from that. But that's life, right? That's the part of suffering that people go through. They learn the coping skills, and then I think from that, when I was reading the book, it's like your subconscious figures out a way, some survival skills from the situation that you grow up with, and then somehow some of it continues lifelong. And when we have some traumatic experience, which I had in the last year, then there are 2 ways to go about it. One is go down and not overcome any of that, or after you hit the rock bottom, you go up and try to learn from it, try to grow from it, and take 100% responsibility of all the actions, good, bad, ugly, everything, all the actions that we performed until now. And so yeah, they talk about taking the observer role when you have an interaction with somebody, not to blame, not to judge, not to criticize, and just take an observer role. And I think it is also important to take the observer role for our past, our present, and the future, because only then we can learn, and we are in this world for learning. A couple of nights ago, I remember that Alice was a bit unhappy because I was so exhausted I couldn't play, and that night I also felt bad that she was unhappy. And instead of lingering on that thought, I think because of the mindfulness practice, I figured that my bucket was not full, so I also had to let that emotion go in my mind by doing some self-care or something. So I listened to some compassionate meditation, compassion for myself, and they talk about it all the time, but that before you want to be compassionate or loving towards somebody else, you have to be compassionate and loving towards yourself, because you can't give people what you don't have. And these are not just for saying, these are real. So I tried that a couple of nights ago. I really focused on myself, and for some time it felt very selfish. I'm like, oh, why am I not feeling guilty about Alice, not able to play with her, and I'm focusing on myself feeling better. And trust me, as a mom, I love her unconditionally, and I was feeling guilty, but for a moment, I told myself, okay, I need to put that guilt aside for a little bit and focus on myself to feel better too. And I think what resonated is, I can't remember if it was from a book or when I was listening, it said that think of this, that you did your best at the time, knowing what you knew then, even if it was an hour ago. You did your best by knowing what you knew then. And now, at this time, you're doing your best by knowing what you know now. So I kept listening to those type of meditation for a while, and that night I didn't have very good sleep. I slept here and there, but it helped. So next day I was more understanding. I was more kind. I did what I needed to do, and so last night she and I played. We actually got this gratitude card also from Amazon. I don't know if they're not here, they're over there. This gratitude card, because I think the old gratitude practice where we used to do it at the dinner table, and then I did some of the card here, like a scrum board. My husband would say they look like scrum board, but the gratitude card. So Alice got a little bored doing similar gratitude practice, so I thought, she might like this new card thing. So I got them. I'm sorry, I had some things stuck in my teeth. I forgot to clean it before the video, but then I started the video and just going. Anyway, I don't even know how many people or if anybody will watch this, but anyway, these are real life stuff, right? So it's okay. And these videos are not fancy. I'm just talking. Anyway, so yeah, the gratitude card, they're like a regular card deck, but they have good questions and they have a little design to it. So Alice is very good at coming up with games. So she said, oh, let's play it like Uno. She didn't say let's play it like Uno, but that's the type of game she had in mind. So we both had like 7 or 8 cards in our hands. And then she's like, whoever answers the question first, they get to drop the next card. And whoever finishes the cards first, they win. I'm like, okay. So she and I started doing the cards, and it talked about gratitude for the simple things during the day. And we both played like, oh, what made you feel loved today? Loved today. And something, how did you help someone today, or something like that. So very, very positive questions. And then she and I played that, and it was fun. It was very positive experience. And because in the book, one of the books, I think Joe Dispenza, based on some of his experiments, they said that about 1,200 chemical reaction goes on in our body, 1,200, that restores and relaxes our mind and body when our mind is in a grateful state. So anyway, so that stayed in my mind a couple of days ago when I first ordered this card from Amazon. So where I was going with that is that one question that I had, what I would tell my younger self, that to be grateful for everything that I got throughout my life. And then it said that that question answer is relating to my value, and I like that. And then it said that is the gift that I supposedly I have, that I can share with the world. So I don't really know yet how I'm going to share the feeling of gratitude or practice of gratitude, because it's not a new concept with the world. But I guess new things will come up as I keep talking about these things. So from that, today I thought every morning I drink coffee in cups where some things are written that helps me to feel uplifted, to feel positive. But then I thought, not for me per se, but why don't I share it with the people where that will give them hope. If anybody watches these videos, that will give them hope. Maybe that is something about giving and being kind I can do. So that's why I picked this cup today. Every day is a fresh start. First I thought I'll pick a different cup, but then I picked this cup. Every day is a fresh start, to use that as a reminder for someone, if anybody is having a hard day or hard moment, hard month, or a year. Know that everything is impermanent, and every day is a fresh start. Every day is a fresh start. So yeah, we forget that when we were deeply buried in the difficulties of life, it is very hard to remember that, but those are the times we have to remember. And if we go with the concept of the Buddhism, the basement and the living room and the second floor, sometimes we get stuck in the basement. We forget that there are stairs to go up to the living room. There are stairs to go up to the second floor, where the feelings are better, but we get stuck in the basement. So I think I'm going to remember that concept for myself, the metaphor that I'm using. I think that's resonating well with me, that we don't need to stay stuck in the basement. We can lift ourselves up by thinking positive, making positive action. When I started practicing this mindfulness, I remember that talking about if you're feeling sad or something, and if you're going out to Starbucks or wherever you're going, be kind to the people and give them a smile, and they will smile also, and your day would feel a little better. Or give the Starbucks person a good tip, and just by giving you feel better. Sometimes we forget that giving can be at home. They say charity begins at home. Practice that at home, right? We don't always think about that. A couple of days ago, I watched a TED Talk where somebody said that if we want to bring more love and peace in the world, she said, go love your family, right? So a lot of time, it's easier to see the big things. It's easier to see the big problems, and we all want to solve the big problems. But imagine what if, everybody focused on the small problems, meaning the problems all around them, tried to spread the peace and love all around them. Then all those people will have a ripple effect of goodness flowing all around the world, and the world will be a better place. So yeah, let's try to do that. Let's try to be more mindful. Let's not hold on to the old grudges. Let's not hold on to the future worry that is not even there. Let's clear those baggages, put it on the floor of ground, on the ground, to the Mother Earth. Our Mother Earth, the blue sky, the sun, the trees. We are connected to all of those nature, and grateful for all of that. The clean water, and I feel grateful for the coffee that I can drink every morning. 3-4 years ago, there was one time I could not drink coffee, and that's a neutral feeling that I remind to myself to turn into a pleasant feeling every morning that I did not realize. I used to like to drink coffee in the mornings, but I did not realize how much I liked it or how much I missed it until I could not drink it for 3 years straight. After that, when I started drinking coffee and I could drink coffee, it felt so good, so good. So sometimes we don't realize the importance or value of some things until we lose it. So sometimes when we focus on the good, when we look at things differently, we don't have to lose it to realize the value and importance of it. Like Wayne Dyer would say, when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes. And the big example of that is the cup, where they talk about the glass half empty or half full. Some people would see us like half empty if they're pessimistic. Some people look at half full as optimistic, and very optimistic and positive people would see it as there is a glass. So even if it is half full, so what? You can always fill it up again or fill it up more. So there are many ways to look at things. If we change our perspective, we can see things that otherwise we won't see. We won't overlook the small good things, because our mind is unfortunately wired in such a way that positive thing brings more positive, negative things bring more negative. So positive action creates positive thought, and positive thought creates more positive action, and the feeling is automatic. A lot of the books and self-help industry talk about the feeling. The feeling is automatic, in my opinion. If you focus on the feeling, if you focus on the thought, those are harder to change. Positive action, in my opinion, but that could be more because I'm a more action-oriented person. I guess it depends on how we look at things again with the Wayne Dyer's perspective. But if we take a positive action, if we smile at someone, and like this morning when I gave Alice a card and I wrote positive things for her, that made me feel better too. So I'm automatically saying it made me feel better. So when I do a positive action, it's the feeling is automatic. We don't have to think, feel, and do the action. Just do the action. I think that's what I got to focus on myself more, do the action. And even Abraham Hicks talks about it takes only 17 seconds. So if you're thinking positive, that positive thinking, if it continues for 17 seconds, that's going to pull another positive thought. And then similarly, if it's negative, 17 seconds, it's going to pull another negative. So it's the important part is breaking that loop, because when you are in that continuous 17 or beyond in one direction, then remembering and taking the turn the other way, and that is what mindfulness helps with, because mindfulness teaches us to think about what we are thinking about. So say if I'm thinking about a cup and a coffee, and I'm aware that I'm thinking about the cup and a coffee instead of yesterday's worry or yesterday's sadness or tomorrow's worry, then I'm missing the cup and the coffee. So it's more about being aware of what we are doing at the moment. Anyway, I talked a lot today. I'm going to do a little bit of grounding with my senses and then wrap up the video. it felt good just to take the deep breaths, and I was just focusing on the breath, nothing else. And I think some of it came from practicing over and over and over. I remember in the past I won't be able to focus on the breath. Breath is supposed to be the easiest, but to me it always seemed the hardest to keep my mind focused on the breath. They say top of your nose or here or inside where the breath is going down, but to me breath always seemed hardest. What I tend to do is I try to smell if there's anything I can smell, so that kind of keeps me focused on the breath. The sound, I can hear the sound of me talking, and something else, maybe the air conditioning. I can't hear anything else. I can see the object. There's a little elf that Alice put in there looking at me. And I have some pictures here. There's a coffee cup. I printed it from online. It says, "What good shall I do this day?" I printed it for myself so that I focus on doing something good each day. And I have printed something called "Be kind, be the kind one," so that I focus on continuing doing kindness, act of kindness. And I have other objects in the room, different colors of things I'm looking at. And the temperature in the room is not cold, not hot, it's comfortable. I feel the chair, the clothes, the tablecloth, my bracelet, and the string, my necklace. Normally I never feel it, but now I'm feeling it since I'm focusing on it. It's all about the focus. Where, what do they say? Our mind goes where energy flows, or energy goes where our mind flows, or something like that. So since I'm focusing on it, I'm feeling it in my earrings. Normally I never feel it. I don't feel the hair in my head, but now I feel it when I'm noticing it. And now these are our 5 bodily senses, and our 6th sense, which is our mind. And with my mind, I just took the sip of the coffee, and it's about room temperature. I felt it, I smelled it, I tasted it, I'm looking at the cup. So I'm really, really deeply present in this moment. And that is what the mindfulness training is, to be present wherever we are. And the way it helps is when you are listening to somebody, we are there. Because there's a saying that they say that, I forgot who said it, a quote, where they say that when we listen to somebody, we don't really listen to hear what they're saying. We are listening to respond, because our mind is already in the future. We are not present. So training ourselves to be present in any particular situation is the best thing we can do for living a fulfilling life for ourselves, not for anybody else, for ourselves. When we are at work, if we had a challenging day or a week or something, right now I'm not working, but hopefully soon enough I can get back to working. I think that'll be good for me. And I think I'll do things differently than I have done before. It's easier said than done, I know, because I worked almost 20 years, a little over 20 years, and then now going back to work, how would I do things differently? I would do things differently where I'm not carrying the old baggages from the past, and also I'm not worrying about the future. I'm going to be in the present moment. If I had a challenging week, I would not carry that to the next week. If I had a challenging day, I wouldn't carry that to the next day. And that is not for anybody else, that is for myself. Because when we carry a challenging emotion or anger, in Buddhism, that's like holding the hot coal ourselves, hoping to throw it at somebody else. Right? If we are sad or resentful or angry about somebody for them, excuse me, for them treating us bad, for whatever that may be the reason, they probably don't even know. And by giving them more mental space, by worrying about them, by thinking what they did to us, nobody else is suffering other than ourselves. So as hard as it is to let that go, we have to figure out a practice that works for us, that helps us to let that go. Because all these people that show up in our life who anger us, who, is that the right English? Anger us, I don't know, but you get the point. It is not them. It's that trigger that pokes in the basement, and we bring it up to the living room. We bring it up from the basement to the living room, because if we want, we have the option to close the door of the basement and it stays in the basement, but we are the one who bring it up. Because I forgot that doctor's name, Dr. Gottlieb, I guess, or somebody was in that book, and then I watched this YouTube video where he says the trigger word probably came from war or weapon systems or something, that anybody can pull the trigger. Who is feeling the ammunition is ourselves. So if somebody pokes at us on our weakness, okay, they're pulling the trigger, but who is continuing? It's like that from Buddhism, this first arrow could be anybody, the second arrow, third arrow, that, oh, somebody said we're not good enough, and then we are putting more validation points in that, saying that, yeah, we are not good enough because we didn't do this, we're not as good as like that person. But those are the thoughts we don't have to feed into. So we can just leave the trigger at the trigger, and each time we do it, our mind gets more stronger and stronger. We are able to let it go. So in my perspective, the mindfulness is what is working, midlife mindfulness. That's how I ended up creating this channel. And I know I'm talking randomly, and right now I'm at 52 minutes and going to 53 minutes. I know it's crazy that I'm talking this long just by myself. But you gotta do what you gotta do to help yourself, right? So for me, this is helping me to learn new things. As I keep talking, new things comes to the surface for myself, and I think my brain gets trained, and I am learning to be more positive. I'm learning to focus on the positive, and what more can I ask for from life? So I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful that there are some subscribers on the channel, and some people even commented to encourage me a few weeks ago. So I don't even know those people, so I'm so very grateful for the people who come. I see there are many returning viewers from the folks who subscribe, so so grateful for your help and support. It means a lot to me. It means so much more than I can even say. It reminds me the goodness of the humanity. We are all so connected in so many ways, and our human emotions. So imagine that the goodness that we have with each other, we don't even know. And if you're encouraging me, if it is making me feel this good, imagine your family, your friends, your coworker, with that goodness, how would make them feel? They would feel even better. So let's spread peace, love to all the people we know, personally or online, wherever. That's how the peace and the love will continue growing in the world. We all do our little parts, and that's how it has a domino effect. Even my daughter, 8-year-old daughter, she would talk about the domino effect sometime in a good way, that when we are kind, then that kindness continues, because those people who are on the receiving end. Sometimes somebody might receive kindness once and then they would go and show the kindness to somebody else, but some people maybe they would be on the receiving end 5 times and then they would go and be kind to somebody else, but that is still the goodness that is flowing and continuing, right? So we all can do that for a better future. We all want our kids, grandkids to live in a more peaceful and loving world. And we all can do that. We all can create a better future. We don't have to look for the big people to change, because this world is too big for 1 or 2 people or even hundreds of people to change to make it a better world. We all, this 8 billion people, we all can do our part and it'll become a better world. I know I'm talking almost an hour, so now I'm finally definitely going to finish the video. I'll warm up my rest of the coffee in the microwave and then get into some job application. Okay, bye. If anybody is watching this video, you have a wonderful day, and I hope you also set a good intention that you have a good day, rest of the day, and good week, and the coming weekend goes really, really good for you, and all the best.